Guys, we're here. It's here. It's here. It's happening. We are reading the companion novel to what is one of my favorite books last year, The Anti-Relationship Year. Oh my god. Last year we read the Anti-Virginity Pact together. I'll link that video in the cards and down below for you. Non-spoilery and spoilers. Well, non-spoiler and spoiler will be down below. Spoiler will be in the cards. And today we're going to be doing another spoiler reaction to the entirety of the Anti-Relationship Year. I was gracefully given a arc for being a Patreon member of Kay Weismer's, and so I'm very, 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 very excited to be able to read this, to be able to read it early, and to tell you guys all my thoughts and opinions. This follows Joanna while going through her freshman and senior year of high school. It is a new adult romance, and I can't wait. Joanna, as you guys know, was one of my favorite characters. I had so many questions about her, and I really, really did like her, and I liked the relationship between Joanna and Meredith, and so I'm hoping to see some of that here. I can't be promised anything. I also have no idea what other characters are going to be popping up if it's just Joanna. I know we're getting more information on her life and her family background, but also I know we have a new best friend named Miller who's going to pop up here, who's supposed to be a relationship, but there's also a rocker dude, some type of thing, what I understand. I'm going in this completely blind. I basically just know the synopsis, kinda-ish, and then it jumps back and forth between freshman year and senior year of in college. It's my most anticipated book of the year, one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it has to be a 5. If it's not a 5, I'll be real shocked. I can't wait to read this, guys. And this is full spoilers, by the way. We're going to be going through everything. It's also written in third person from the first line, not first person like I thought it was going to be. And so I'm really excited to see the change there and what that will mean for the characters and stuff. Because I'm like 96% sure that the Anti-Virginity Pact was first person. So I wonder what made her change her choice of changing that. Okay, update for the Anti-Relationship Year. 1, we met Miller. He's super cute, and I'm really, really excited to see where that develops. We also met the band member, who is Joanna's typical type, at least from what we've known from previous novel. And yeah, he does seem like to be a lot of trouble. Every time I know of a small band in a town, automatically my brain goes to Eric's body. I don't think this book is going to go into revenge cultness, so I think we're safe there. But I do believe he is part of the thing that makes her have a rough freshman year. I do have to believe he is a main reason, is my theory going forward. We also know that she has a roommate named Caitlin. Or Kayla. I'm really liking it so far. I find it to be really good. I think the writing is really, really good. It's really, really strong. I think it's better than the Anti-Virginity Pact, and I've quoted several different things so far. So far, so good. That's my first update for the book. I'll let you guys know when other bigger things happen. They're just in a bar right now, on the eve of their first, right before class. So, oh my god, the singer wrote a song. So the band's called, hold on, I'll read the line to you. So I'm in chapter 4. Chapter 3's takeaway is that the 2 other girls that she's been hanging out with, Addie and Lori, I think is their names, are bitches, and I fucking hate them, and I don't really know if they're gonna have an arc or not, but I really don't like them, and I definitely know those people. That's probably, the best thing so far about the novel, is that everybody just seems so real, because I can definitely, I've met all these people before in my life, in college and things, so there's that going for it. But Joanna, by United States, scrolled across the screen. I just freaked out. I'm sorry. Just had to interject that there. They wrote a song about her. So what the fuck happened? It's a big deal. Also, it was a huge thing that she's a virgin. They put a whole chapter about her being a virgin, which we already knew because she never actually did do her virginity pact when she left high school. We weren't really sure, to be honest with you. I wasn't really sure, how she felt about the teacher thing, and then we know she's disgusted by the thought of what she was trying to do, which was nice. That's good clarity for Joanna. It shows some growth, even through a few months of time passing. And then, 2, they made a really big deal about it. So we also know she loses her virginity her freshman year, based on the conversation she's been having this time around. Okay, I'm not entirely sure the last time I updated you guys for Terry was. But we are on chapter, I want to say it's 9, if I'm not mistaken. we're about to hit the halfway mark, and a very big thing about the entire relationship here that I truly remember, and then I was like, was very distinct, is one, this book is a lot faster, the plot is moving a lot faster. A thing that I had never critiqued, because I think it was extremely necessary, is that the first 50% of the Anti-Virginity Pact, TAVP, was that nothing truly really happened until the 50% mark. Nothing like major. The whole plot point of that book was at the 50% mark, you know, and so there's a lot of character building moments in the beginning. Well, now we're on to chapter 9, which I don't know how many chapters. There's 26 altogether. And it's her last night with Gray. And I don't know if the thing that happens with Gray is what is it. I'm not really sure. She's drunk. She's at a party. There's weed being smoked. I also wanted to read you guys a line because I really loved it. Katie just has a way of really having envisioned the rooms. I also really like how almost in every new scene she does describe what they're wearing in a very like subtle way, where it's kind of just like a written off type of thing, where it's not truly important, but it's there and it adds more context and it's more visually stunning. But one of the lines that I really liked that I highlighted, which obviously is like most of this book, but this is one of those lines. She glanced at the cutout above the kitchen island that showed into the living room. Every seat on the couch was occupied, and the room reeked of weed. An ashtray and a few empty chip bows littered the coffee table. I really enjoyed the context it brought, and it made the room much more visual. I can definitely see this apartment. I can visualize it. I've been there. I can smell it. It's just very well done. So props to Katie. And then also, there's also been a few lines here or there where it's kind of symbolizing something bad might happen. I'm not sure if anything bad will happen, but I'm real nervous. And so yeah, that's my update so far for you guys. Okay, so Gray was a dick. I could have told you that, but I think I did tell you that a few times. They had sex, and she'd realized that he's had sex with other people, or at least if it truly was his bedroom, there was another girl there at one point, and he left her. So I'm curious to see what the fallout is, but that was a really tough chapter. And I remember chapter 9 being in one of her Instagram posts. I took a few screenshots because someone had asked the question, what are your guys' favorite chapters or whatever, and she said 9, 13, 14, and 23. And 9 was one of those ones, and I think she handled it very well. I'm curious to see the fallout, but yeah. Alright. Update you guys soon. It's his mom. Sandra, his mom. It's Gray's mom. I just literally, my stomach literally just dropped. Now, here's the thing. If she's been so obsessed with her, I think she should know. I'm not sure it'd be public knowledge, though. I'm not really sure, though, to be honest with you, how... I did, after I read it, I was like, if you're such a huge fan, maybe, if they're both so famous, maybe they wouldn't. I feel like that could be an easy Google. But I'm not sure, though. Very interesting. Either way, it's great drama. And I like that more than I like statistics. I just think, wow. Also, he wrote a song about her. So this must not be the end of their loves, their thing. Because he did write a song about her. What a fucking dick! Look, okay, some context. We're now back in the past, and she thinks she's pregnant. Well, so far, 5 pregnancy tests have told her she is pregnant. Okay, she's obviously only had sex with him. Now, she didn't say she's only had sex with him, but he literally was about to call her a whore, so that's my defense there. Look, Joanna, there was a coldness in the way he said her name this time. I really can't deal with this right now. We're about to get signed with this label. He sighed. And there's more wrestling in the background. Besides, it's probably not even mine anyway. And then he hung up. What the fucking asshole? One, you guys, well, I don't ever think they defined their relationship as exclusive. But then again, she was quite hurt when she found the brawl. So that does make, one believe more exclusivity than not. Just called her a fucking whore. I'm mad. I'm flabbergasted. I want to hug her. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions. I just didn't realize I'd be hurt tonight. Well, I also want to continue reading, so I'm sure I'll update you guys in like a second, as all these updates have literally been like seconds away from each other. So there's that. A few notes. This book's gonna make me cry. I'm not cried yet, but I do know it's going to. I'm just not there yet. Second note, I'm about 50% into it, which is interesting. So I want a Miller. I'm gonna say it right now. I want a Miller. I want a Miller. Did I mention I wanted a Miller? Because I kind of want a Miller. um, which is very interesting because he reminds me a lot of Sam, which was Meredith's love interest in the first book. It wasn't really your love interest. I mean, they dated, but like, you know what I mean? And I really like Sam as well. I want to say it's Sam. Now I'm second guessing it, but I'm like 96% sure it's Sam. But I want a Miller. He's so kind. He's so sweet to her. And this whole rest of the chapter was all about the doctor's appointment and things. And it was just, yeah, kind of broke my heart a little. That's okay though. Back to reading. In typical fashion, the 50% mark was abrasive, I would say the least. So the reason why is that Simone isn't her last name. It's Carter, so that makes a lot of sense. It puts some logic back into where I thought maybe there wasn't logic. She ends up falling down a hill and twisting her ankle. Normally, like, there's certain signs to know if your ankle's broken or not, and I don't think she had those. And then her and Miller almost had sex, and I was definitely here for it. So, yeah. It was a messy chapter, but it was a great one. Like, messy, like, not messy, like, in a writing way or messy in, like, a storytelling way. The characters' actions and stuff are messy. You know, this one, that was one of those moments I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah. I know that's where I'm stopping tonight. We're going to stop 50% into it. But yeah. Oof. So good. It's so good. Alright, I'm here to update you guys on Terry, the Anti-Relationship Year by Katie Weismer. As you guys know, we're in that blog. So, the first thing I'm going to update you guys on, I'm like 60-something% into it now, but I'm going to play a little bit of a catch-up and how I thought about the things that were evolving. First things first is we got lyrics from the song, so I'm going to read them out loud to you because I want the song. She wants to get a taste. Oh yeah, she wants it. We all know. She got that pretty face. I shouldn't go there. No, no, no. The room blurred around her, darkening around. Red hair, leather jacket. Maybe I should let her have it. It pissed me off. It made me curse out loud. So the other thing is she's at a party. Miller comes and gets her at said party. And there's some like really, really cute back and forth banter, such as you have a hot over the phone voice Miller. Joe murmured, "You should be a phone sex operator." I loved it. And then they kiss for the first time. The important part, when I was reading the scene, I was like, a part of the beautiful things of Katie Weismer is that even the minute scenes have something important to it. Like the first half of the anti-relationship year, or the anti-relationship pact, wasn't necessarily boring because there's a lot of eventful things that happen in it, just nothing that moves the story along in a full-on path. Well, the important part of this scene in particular is the fact that they kiss for the first time. And you can see that he starts to like really like her, that he's always really liked her. Now she's initiated it, but she's really, really drunk when she initiates it. She kind of wants to go a little bit further, it seems like, maybe, possibly. And he says no, because Miller is like a goddess, and we all just need a Miller in our lives. And that's kind of where that whole thing ends, and I loved it. Her and Kayla are off on bad marks, which is very interesting because Kayla isn't mentioned at all. Almost all the other characters have been mentioned who participate in freshman year except for Kayla, so I'm curious to see if that's going to come around. I've been putting in the back of my mind, like, where is Kayla during senior year? Because in freshman year, they don't get along. They've done a few things where it's, in bed and, like, in the same room, and I liked that it didn't have the one bed trope where they had to sleep together. I didn't really think it was necessary since we're still really building that friendship, even though they did kiss that one time. She wakes up and she starts to reflect on it. and he decides to hold the first kiss a secret, to not change the relationship. Then we move over into senior year, which is set in March, which this is the dinner. So they had recently just had sex in the car, or I don't actually know if they had sex, but they did a lot of sexual things. I can't remember, to be honest with you. And my reaction, it's on camera, that one. And she goes to dinner with her parents. Her parents are never really involved in the first book. They're always out of town. They always have like are on missions or on their job or whatever. And so these are the first real interactions we get between her and her mom and her dad, other than at the where we met them before. Her mom's a bitch. I'm just gonna put it out there right now, and it was very interesting. But she was really afraid that Miller wouldn't show up, and Miller does show up because of what happened. She wasn't really sure what the relationship would be, and they're really cute during the whole thing. They're holding hands. They're making like tiny eye contact. Just like really really cute, and I loved it. And the writing here is just so beautiful, and she does such an amazing job. And I'm so obsessed. There's lines in here that I just absolutely love. Her mom is really pressing on the fact that Miller's dad's no longer around, and so we get more information and background on that, which I think we already do know, and that is, he's in prison. My mom has a restraining order against him. Is all we really get about Miller and his parents, but it's enough information that I was like, ooh, I'm curious. And I'm curious to see if that will pop up whatsoever. Obviously, we're looking for things to keep an eye on to see if they're going to pop up in future chapters. That's basically the whole thing. And then they actually do have sex. And the writing here, once again, is just so good. It goes back and forth, and there is enough here, to be honest with you, that it's really steamy, but it's not like you don't get to see the deed. Like, you get to see everything up into, like, a certain point, and I think it's just the perfect steam for the book. And I was really surprised. It went a lot more graphic than I thought I was going to, and I was really happy that it did, because I think it needed it, and there's some, like, really cute moments in between. And then also there's lines such as, complied, biting her lip, as she lifted her head. His eyes didn't roam her body in the hungry way most men did. He stared right back, his gaze locked on hers, his chest rising, falling with each rapid breath. But when he brought his mouth back to hers, their kiss was softer, slower, softer. It's just freaking beautiful. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. And he like calls her the cutest fucking thing ever, and I'm elated. Is essentially what it is. And then the next one is they go to this club. It's like a newspaper club or whatever, and one of the projects that a writer could write on is the fact that the band, Graves' band, will be showing up at here. So we have more conflict, and I was really curious to see if Graves is going to pop up again and what that would mean. And so that does look like we're in December now, freshman year. This is the chapter I'm in the middle of right now. And, so yeah, and there's some really, really good lines about anxiety throughout the book that I've been highlighting and I've just like really been obsessed with. I could read it to you, but it's really, really long. But she basically describes how she's feeling and how she can't escape Gray, even though as much as she wants. And she talks about the doctor's office and how there's so many things, but she can't escape it, and type of thing. And then there's like also cute lines on top of that, where it's like, hey, I just gave you an hour of my life. You can give me 5 minutes of yours, because he's sneaking her into this place. And so that's where I'm at. I love you guys. I just want to play a little bit of catch up. I wanted to show you guys the notebook. The Kindle has a notebook. And these are all the notes I've taken while reading said book. Just love it. Alright, I'll update you guys when I have more things to talk about. The fact that Miller wants to do a charcoal face scrub with her to clean out his pores and put on a blue headband is just the cutest thing ever. And once again, I want a Miller. Where do they exist, Katie? I'm asking you specifically. Do you know one? Can you tell him to send his friends? I'm just kidding. Honestly though, I don't think they exist. That's my point. I'm just like loving it so far. Okay, that's my update. I'm gonna make a note. I like the transition, how we went from a tender, sweet moment. So we're now senior year. We're in chapter 16 now, and it goes from her waking up alone. Miller's gone, and she's thinking about the night before. And I really liked how she described one of the scenes or whatever. But then it triggered a memory of the night Gray. Now he's just kind of freaking out. Why wasn't he here? Like, why isn't he here and stuff? And then Miller shows up, and I noticed you were out of coffee, so I ran down the street. So I was hoping I could slip back in before you woke up because he's an angel. And she didn't, slash, in the parentheses right here, you couldn't see it, couldn't respond. He came back, and he was smiling. Joe, I want to protect you with my whole heart. Oh my god. Okay, that's it. That's what I got up to you on. I'll be back. Jordan and Kayla? What? So, basically, Kayla is a sorority girl. That's why we've never noticed her before, because they don't hang out, because they're not together, because she's a sorority girl. Like, okay, that makes sense. The logic there makes sense. And I think there's even a few references to her freshman year, which also makes sense. So we're good there. They're really awkward, so obviously the tension that was already brewing beforehand must have got out of its way, is my best guess. And then, Jordan was looking for her, but he wasn't looking. Jordan showed up in the background with photos. She's there taking photos for the girls, and he crept up behind Kayla, threw his arms around her waist, and spun her in a circle. She squealed and laughed until he set her back on her feet and leaned down to kiss her. The same guy who was just pining for, because like the senior years, they're not that far apart. Actually, I think everything takes place in March. So yeah. Wow. That's all I gotta say. W-O-W. Wow. That's it. I'll see you soon. What asshole thinks it's okay to go talk to someone who called you to say that they were pregnant and then straight up told her she was a slut? But thinks it's okay to go talk to her and release a song? What asshole? I'm just curious if anybody has one. Do you have a name? I mean, I can think of a few people I might know personally, but like, what asshole does that to someone? And then tarot card reading, remember that's just for freshman year, and so it's gonna be a rocky ending. And then Kayla, I kind of figured out why she ended things with Kayla, because Kayla's being a bitch, essentially. I'm not really sure why. I mean, there's reasons why Kayla would feel the way Kayla does about Joe, and the way Joe had acted when she was in Graves' relationships, but I wouldn't say she was like a horrible roommate from what we have seen so far in the novel. So I'm not ready for this conversation, so I'm postponing. No, I'm gonna finish this chapter. I think I'm probably go to bed. I'm not really sure, but who just goes up? No, you just don't do that. You have the decency to not do that. It's just the fucking truth, dude. You just don't do that to someone. One, you don't answer the phone and be like, oh, you probably sleeping around a whole bunch of my dudes. Like, what a dick on one note. But also to write a song about it, to call her a promiscuous whore, and to just say her name in the song. What a dick. And then they go talk to her? And you have Miller, who's an angel. It's beautiful. Do you think you went? I don't know. That's where I'm at. 74%. So I'm back real soon. Not that you guys know that, but I started the next chapter, which is senior year. The interaction with Gray was very sad. He called the conversation and the fact that she was pregnant a mistake. It was mistaken. So he's a what? Yeah, you're right, a dick. But the next chapter starts. She has a thing with Miller. It's another type of like ball type date thing this evening, and she ran to Jordan in the hallway, and Jordan apologizes. Now that's not really out of ordinary. People reflect on what they did wrong, and then they basically just are like, hey, we're sorry, I'm sorry for what I did or whatever, and that makes sense logically. There's sense to be made there. So like, I'm not even thinking about that. There's a line here, we're gonna get to it. So he says, no, I really was a dick. I like that word. And you were never anything but nice to me. The last thing I deserved was another guy treating you like that. I'm sorry. She asked, another guy. He shifted his weight, one hand coming to scratch at the back of his neck. What beautiful writing. Sorry. Yeah, I anyway had a good rest of your day, Joe. I'll see you around. He turned toward the elevators before he went. Joe could have sworn his eyes had trailed down to her stomach. Later on, to reassure her that she's pretty sure, the only person who really knew about it at all is Miller, and so that makes her think that Miller told Jordan, which I don't know why he would do that, so I'd be curious if that is the reason why. There's also a note. There's a paragraph in the first section of chapter 18 where she goes back and she goes over the memories, and it was beautiful of her and Miller, and so we're kind of getting into she's getting the mindset. Oh wait, I can do this. Me and Miller can be together. We can do this. And she's even asking herself if they want to be friendships, like friends again, and if that's even like a possibility. It's not. And now that's probably going to be ruined. I'm not really sure though. We'll see how it plays out. I'm wondering if Kayla knows. That's my only guess, is that Kayla knows and Kayla blabbed. Or maybe Kayla told maybe a lot more people to know than we know. I don't know. I'll let you know. She is taking the job at Simone's, which was, interesting. But that's all. So the dick showed up again, and he goes to further to ask for coffee. Now, sure, this is 4 years after the events of the last one. It's not actually 4 years. It would be 4 years, like, in the whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's been a long time since she had seen him. She even mentions it's been a long time. But he calls her Joanna, which no one calls her Joanna. Everybody calls her Jo. It's a thing, everybody knows. He called her Joanna. That's why the song's called Joanna. He didn't tell her mom that he knew her or whatever, and they're kind of talking about that he's walking her out of the building after she just accepted the role or whatever. And he's cool. She's like, I'm leaving now, and she's being really hard about it because, like, duh, I would too. What a dick. And he goes, Joanna, and she's like, don't call me that. He lets out a startled laugh. Isn't that your name? And then he goes to wanted to apologize, to ask her for coffee. You don't laugh at her because you know the fact that she doesn't like her name being called Joanna. You did it on purpose. You're still a dick. No, go away. Go away. Oh, God. I think we're actually going to go have coffee with him. Why are you doing this? My stress cannot handle this. I'm sure I'll update you another time before this chapter's over, because I mean, it's really funny because in my head, I was like, oh, nothing's really happening. And then boom. I should have known. I should have known. We're in the end game now. I'm in the final act. And I'm crying. Okay. Okay, they didn't go to coffee, but they did talk about the incident, which is very interesting. Very nice foreshadowing, by the way. But I personally, I don't know how I feel. He talks about how he threw up afterwards and how he was really scared, which are both, like, I do like the line, I have to say, before we get into him. He's still a dick, I don't like him. But he's like, he keeps saying, he keeps keeping tabs on her or whatever, and he was like, look, I'm sorry, I was a stupid kid. You were 22, she cuts in. That's who I am now. So no, you weren't a kid. And he goes on to apologize, saying that you're right, because I'm so happy she called him out on that bullshit. I hate the conversation of like, oh, we were just children, when you weren't. So I like that bullshit. I like where she was on it. And he threw up after he hung up on the phone, and that he was scared. But I never forgot about it, but you're right. I don't think there was a worse way I could handle things. I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I just need you to know that. And, she goes on to say Joe squinted and turned away to look across the street as Gray shore something pitifully. This boy, who had once been larger than life to her, who had a magnetic pull she couldn't resist no matter how hard she tried, the first word she'd ever been in love with, now she hardly recognized him. And what was probably the most merciful thing about it all was she didn't want to. And, she went on to say that all, and he said, okay, and she walked away. I don't really know how I feel about the altercation, to be honest with you, and how I should feel. Oh, God. Sorry, I read Caleb's name. And, yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one towards the end. I'm curious to see. It does say that that's the last time walked away and turned from Gray for the last time. Who knows if it's the actual last time? We still have quite a few chapters left of the book to go. Only 20%, but quite a few chapters left to go. So, we will see. I'm also curious to see if there is going to be no third act breakup, because Joe had a second boyfriend. That's a good way to get her and Miller without some complications, so maybe they'll be able to work things out, but still put them on an angsty romance. It's a nice way to do it, so I like it a lot. If that's the way she ends up going. If not, that's also fine. They're not really dating, so they can't really break up unless it's friendship. And I really just don't think I can handle that personally. But who knows? Okay. Those are all my updates. Christmas was so cute. I loved it. And I think the guests were so nice. I loved them. Very, very happy. I don't think I'm gonna add the same, to be honest with you. Christmas was kind of important, but also wasn't important. Okay, so I have some mixed thoughts and opinions on the whole Joe and Miller situation. I do get it, and I think it's a very common thing when you turn the relationship into something else that you start to get scared. So that right there is I'm fine with, and I don't have any problems with. Her not going, I also don't have any problems with. You can tell by her anxiety and things, that makes sense. But just doing it to Gracie kind of felt bad. I don't know. I have some really mixed thoughts and opinions on the whole situation because Joe is obviously in certain parts of this admitting to herself that she really likes Miller. She likes Miller like more than anything, but she is a self-sabotager. We've seen this in countless places, and not even in this book, but also in the previous one. So it makes sense. I'm just not ready for the fallout. I don't really know if there's gonna be a big one. Miller's like a really, really kind guy. I've not really seen him angry yet, so I'm assuming that has to happen eventually. So I guess we'll have to wait and find out. I'm 83% into it, so there's not much left that could. I mean, there's only like a chunk of the book left, but we'll see. That's where I'm at. Christmas was cute. I didn't really talk about it. It was fun. I like Christmas. That was the last freshman year chapter. There is something else that was there. I don't know if it's going to come up or not, but I did take note of it in my brain as I do. And now I'm moving into freshman year again, which is just tragic. Just a big tragedy. It's just the answer. So I'll keep you updated. I was correct. It was Kayla who told Jordan about Gray freshman year. I knew it. I had this feeling because they were dating, and I was just thinking to myself, my God. And she was just being so mean. And then you had in the past where she just moved out, and now this, and oh my gosh. Also, I just want to mention, on a side note that's not story related, the transitional scenes, like, I have a problem when I write, and I always like finding material that you can learn something from. If it's like you're reading or whatever, amazing writing. If you're a writer, you can always pick up something. You can always learn something from it. To put in the back of your box saying, oh yeah, that's a way you could do that or whatever. And I have this thing where when a character leaves a scene to go into another scene, even it's like to a new like location or whatever, I always think that has to be a scene break. But I really like how Katie, and it could possibly because of how she wrote it and things like that, but the scenes are how they're not broken up and how like there's a really nice transition where it's like, though she ducked her head against the rain, hurried over to her Jeep, the man behind the counter, this is a different paragraph, the man behind the counter nodded as she stepped inside. You broke it up enough to where it felt like there was enough time that passed, but still one equal scene, which still works. I really liked it. So I took a note of a few of those throughout the book. Alright, back to reading. So Miller was a gentleman, and we all thought he would be, when the night of the banquet, like Gracie had went, and they ended up coming home. It was great. There was a little bit of arguing, but the barely minimum was on the same page, and then they're in a happy relationship. Or I don't know if they're in a relationship, but they're just really happy, which is just so good. Freshman year for Joanna is not going so great. Like I said, we have Shay, who is Miller's current girlfriend and very jealous because her and Joanna also, I think when someone doesn't love you as much as they love the other person, and Miller's been in love with Joanna since, like, the beginning, so, like, from moment one, it was like, oh my God, it's evident. But the newest update for Gray, because I have one for you, is back in March of her freshman year, he did an article of the inspiration behind Joanna. It's just, it's such an aggravating situation because, like, on one hand, no, it's just aggravating. It's just aggravating. I just feel so bad for her. I'm back in that situation where I was with Mayor at the end of the last book, where I just want to give her a hug. I just want to tell her everything's going to be okay. I know everything's going to be okay. I know where she's headed, I know where she's headed. And you just can't do that. And she just has to find her own way. She's on antidepressants now, which should help, I should say, probably a lot. And I don't know. I know. The scene between Miller and Joe, though, where they're talking about her going when she went to the doctor's and to get the procedure done, and him telling her, no matter how you feel is the way you should feel, it, like, brought tears to my eyes, because, like, I think, yeah, it is beautiful. But, there we go.
I'm looking at you. I'm trying to get your attention. Can I come close? I don't know how to play this. Our hands touch once
They moved in together?
or twice, feeling kind of hypnotized. I'm looking at you and I feel the tension. This could be like heaven. I am right here, doing my best to make you feel.
I love me a good parallel. I'm just saying. I'm a sucker for it. And I love that. Okay, that's a highlight.
Like I do. And just for a second, you're looking at me, making me feel like maybe you want this too. Give me your attention.
Aww. I don't think so. I'm sorry, sweetie. I don't think her parents are good. But it was a cute moment.
I'm trying.
It's over. I finished it. It's done. Final chapter was cute. I did love seeing Meredith again, and her parents are with her, which I think is a really, really good sign for how the last book ended. I'm not going to spoil that here, since it really is a companion, and you didn't really need to read the first one. So let me get situated somewhere else, and we can sit down, maybe in front of my bookshelf, and we can sit down and talk about this book as a whole, and I can give my final rating for it. That sounds like a plan. Alright, I wanted to sit down to give a full-on spoiler discussion about the anti-relationship pact. The anti-what? No. The anti-relationship here by Katie Weismer. Obviously, as you guys have experienced the whole book with me, that last chapter, reading it together almost, with editing, but essentially, I cut out parts of my reading experience. This book did not emotionally hit me as hard as Mare's book did, but it did everything it needed to do. I did have a few tiny problems with it, just like I walked. It wasn't a perfect book to me. I do think it's going to be a 5 stars, though. I don't see why it wouldn't. And that is just some of the characters, to me personally, didn't have the fullest of arcs. And I think it was just a short runtime of the book. The book itself is like, I don't know, like 300 pages, I think, in total. And I think a little bit longer would have helped flushed out, but it didn't actually really affect the story whatsoever. I think this is a perfect example of side characters are both needed for storyal purposes, but also plot purposes. And some of the side characters felt very plot purposed, which, once again, I have those, every writer does, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, equaling it's not going to deter me from my score. I really like the ending for Joe here. I wasn't mad. I was kind of excited to see where they would be in like 5 years, but that's just me as a romance freak wanting to know all the information. But I wasn't mad at it. I would be very curious to see if there was a character spinned off out of this. What character would get a sequel? Like what character romance we would follow? And I kind of want to see Gracie. Gracie was a character that showed up, and I was like, oh, great, Gracie. You know what I mean? We all know her. We all know her. But I loved Gracie by the end of this book. She was so spunky, and she was a nice character to, like, get imagined here. And I would love a spin-off book with her. I don't think we're getting one. I think this is just a duology of these two characters. But, I just, I loved it. It was beautiful. I highly recommend it. Obviously, there's a ton of spoilers here, so hopefully you've already read it. If you've not and you want to go back and experience it, it's not really that book. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's a few things in here that are so jaw-dropping that it's just like crazy. Everything with Gray was insane. And there wasn't anything here that was too over the top either. I really liked it. I thought the steamy scenes were perfect. There was only a few, but there was enough to keep me involved, keep me enthralled and wanting to read more. But really, it was Miller. Miller is such, it's probably like my favorite, like, gonna be like one of my favorite go-to boyfriends for like novels. He was so well written and he was so well realized. I just absolutely adored Miller. Whenever time Miller came on page, I was like, yeah, let's get to Miller. Jo is also a phenomenal character. Her arc here was really hard to read. She had to go through some really, really tough and abrasive things that hurt me as a soul. So yeah, I don't know. I wanted to say thank you to Katie for giving me an arc of this so I could read it early before the book is actually out. And yeah, I do have a non-spoiler review, obviously up on my channel before you watch this, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But if you guys did, please leave me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below, hit subscribe and I'll see you on next time for another video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.